Hello, hello, and we are live. My friends, it's wonderful to be with you. It's been a whole week. It's been a fantastic week. There has been a lot going on, and I thought it would be awesome to have the month of May being dedicated to the questions and answers that are interesting to you, that are exciting to you. And I am here for you to answer the questions that have come to me here in the last few weeks. And actually, I've been collecting questions for 30 years since I've been in this business, since I started my own discovery journey. I've been always talking with people, answering their questions about NLP, about quantum NLP, about the law of attraction. So I have a whole catalog of questions that I have collected over the time. And even on my YouTube channel, there are some other videos that you can see that are specifically Q&A. So if you want to, you can learn a lot more, get the answers to those questions that have been going around your head perhaps. And I have some very specific questions for this evening, and they are right here. So this is really exciting because what I love about these live streams is that it's live. It's right here, right now, no editing. It's just the way it is, the way it comes out. And that's how I want to interact with you guys. I don't want to make these videos because then I get all paranoid and I do a lot of editing and whatever, and I do it 10 times because it doesn't come out right, versus just sitting right here with you in the living room, having a nice conversation, having a gathering, just hanging out together, right? And that's the atmosphere that is so important to me for these live streams. And that's why I love doing them as live streams versus pre-recorded. And I thought to keep that momentum and to also keep that energy, instead of having these questions already in a catalog and prepared, and then I'm rehearsing what I'm going to say to you guys, I just wrote down the questions, a bunch of them, on little sheets of paper, and I fold them up so everything looks the same, and I really don't know what it is. So I'm just going to draw a card and see what happens. And just like in a class, I don't know what questions you guys are going to ask me. So this is going to be my very, very authentic Q&A with you guys, with questions that I've heard in the past. And right now, here is what wants to be talked about, right? Welcome, welcome, everybody. I'm seeing we got people from different states. I'm super excited. Guys, our followingship is growing. I am so grateful to you all for tuning in. Please keep telling your friends. I promise I will keep these live streams going. Don't promise that I'm going to do them every week because I'm also getting ready to head to Europe again here in a few weeks. I have another trip to Salt Lake coming up. So I'm doing the very best I can to be with you guys every week. And if it doesn't work out, once in a while, you understand that, right? So super happy to be with you and to answer your questions for today. So the very first question that's coming to us today. Oh yeah, okay, another little disclaimer. There are multiple questions that I get asked a lot. There are definitely your top questions that people come up with when it comes to the subjects that I just mentioned here. And so I clarified the questions, I simplified them, and I put it just into a very succinct format. So you might not recognize your actual question. And some of you have actually sent me case studies, and I love that too. So if you have a specific question about your own life, please, please, please don't be shy. Send it to me. It's all anonymous. I am simplifying the questions and I'm really making them so that they apply to everybody, so that everybody can learn from them. Okay, so thank you very much. That's important. Oh, that is hilarious. Okay, now here we go. Why should I practice NLP? Okay, so of course there is also a question in there, what is NLP? Because most of you probably know that that's what I'm doing, and you might not actually have a real definition for it. You might not have ever actually experienced a session or have heard someone use the language very specifically, unless you have watched my live streams for a while now, because trust me, I'm constantly using the language. I'm constantly tapping into the principles and using the strategies that we learn in NLP. So why should I practice NLP? Okay, so with NLP being the art and science of how our language patterns influence our reality. Let's just put that framework around it. Very, very simplified, okay? The way we express ourselves verbally, as well as the pictures that we make in our mind's eye, which we're constantly doing in case you're not aware of that, and in the way that we move our body through space, all gets coded in our brain with the experiences. So, for example, I got to go to the ballet a couple of weeks ago. It was spectacular, absolutely beautiful. It was a grandiose production. It was a tremendous afternoon, absolutely stunning. And I cried throughout the whole performance because I was so touched. When I now think of that memory that happened 2 weeks ago, I'm immediately going back to that feeling, that awe, that there's just this amazingness about these people, how beautiful they moved, and that lightness, and the choreography, and the music was stunning because it was live. It was insane. It was so beautiful. And I have all these codes now in my mind about the pictures that I saw. I can see the costumes. I can see some elements of the dancing. For example, at some point there were 40 people on stage, and it was very Russian inspired, very pagan. It was absolutely stunning. So I'm seeing that in my mind's eye. I'm sitting where I'm sitting. I'm looking at the actual stage right now, and I can re-experience it in my mind. And then I also have the soundtrack, and I have that feeling. I feel the tears. I'm feeling that, wow, I have butterflies in my stomach. I felt so light and just wow and warm. It's just amazing. So that is one tiny, tiny, tiny example of just one tiny little memory. And now look across your whole life and imagine what goes on in your brain and the magnificence and the magic that's happening, that you are able to remember stuff. What did you eat yesterday for lunch? When was the last cool trip that you took? Who is your best friend? And every question that I'm asking you, you will immediately go to pictures, sounds, and feelings. Immediately. You will immediately have certain pictures popping up, movies about this person that you're thinking of. You immediately have little conversations that you've had with this person, or things that you think about them comes up to your mind, and you're getting a certain feeling in your body. There might be a warmth, there might be a comfort, there is this feeling of a hug that you get from someone. And when you know that, then life becomes so much richer in your experience. And the most important thing is, because I just gave you a couple of very positive examples, because we also do it for the bad stuff. We do it to overwhelm ourselves. The pictures that I'm making in my mind's eye when I have too much going on is because all I'm doing is putting these lists that I'm having in front of me, and they are so barging in on me and they're overwhelming me. Yeah, even just seeing my hands like that, that's how close those pictures are in my mind's eye. And I'm seeing all these, too many lists, too much going on. So just pushing it out there, just doing that little gesture can give me the breathing room. And then I can catch myself saying things like, oh man, there's just way too much going on. How am I supposed to handle all of this? Why am I overwhelming myself with this? Why do I agree to all these contracts? Da, 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 da. And the mind babble just goes on and on. And then I can go, hey, sweetheart, don't worry about it, because you know what? You've been doing this for over 30 years and it always works out. So there's no need to fret. Breathe. Everything's gonna work out, Christiane. I'm serious. That's how I talk to myself inside. And I used to call myself Honey Bunny. Honey Bunny. Oh, sweetheart. Come on, darling. Because I used to call myself Idiot. And I changed that. So that's one of those things that I wasn't aware of. That I was literally calling myself bad names in my mind. Berating myself. Being mean to myself. Criticizing myself all the time. Oh, I was so good at that. Now I can catch it and I can turn it around. The same with any kind of physical sensations that you're having. I had a headache the other day, Sunday, I think. It just came on a little bit, and all I did was like, hey, hello, my little headache, what's going on? Why are you talking to me right now? What's your message for me? Is there something I need to do? Is there something I'm missing, perhaps? And it was just like, hey, make sure you're drinking more water. It's getting warmer out there. You're spending a lot of time out there, blah, blah, blah. Make sure that your water intake is good. And you also need to eat something because the X, Y, and Z. And then my headache was gone 15 minutes later. So why should I practice NLP? Because NLP gives you an owner manual to your brain. Just like when my car A sign came up the other day and I'm like, oh, what's this? Huh, looks like my car from behind and there's something on the side there. Okay, so I'm going into my manual and I'm looking at it and it says, you probably didn't put your gas cap on right, or you didn't close the door correctly. Something, something. So I went out, did it, dang, 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 start the car again. The light was gone. We now actually have somewhat of an owner's manual, or at least something that approximates, or at least something that gives us a start. Because of course, how can we ever say that we have an owner's manual for our brain when we also know that we're probably using 5 to 10% of it, which is a choice, I believe. It's trained, it's educated, and it is practiced. So imagine having an owner's manual that is really going to help you to start the process of getting to know this vehicle better. That you are able to catch that little light when it comes on saying, hey, you're under stress, you're being criticized and you're not really digging it right now. Hey, you're not taking care of your body and you've been working way too long and you said you were going to take breaks and play with your kids and you haven't. So, and so on and so on and so on. You can just come up with one example after another. So the reason that NLP is a powerful modality is because you start to catch yourself, and in those moments that you are lowering your vibration because of the things that you're saying to yourself, the things that you're seeing in your mind's eye, and also the things you're doing with your body. If that lowers your vibration, you now, A, have the awareness that something's going on, and B, you have tools and resources to help you in that very moment. That's what NLP is all about. It is a catalog of tools and techniques, strategies, exercises, processes, whatever you want to call them. Some are very elaborate and long, some are very, very short. Just the whole, if you're overwhelmed by the pictures because you have too much going on right now, push the pictures back in your mind's eye. Give yourself that breathing room. Step back physically. Take a nice deep breath. Put a smile on your face, relax your shoulders, and you will immediately have a different experience. That's the magic and that's the trick. That's the art and the science of NLP. And I am very much looking forward to the question when it comes what actually is NLP, because then we're going to get a lot deeper into it, okay? So for right now, I hope you get a really great idea why it is powerful and useful to know about NLP. And guys, there are so many resources out there. So look around, find the books, find the videos, find the people who can speak the language and ask them about it. And also make sure that you watch my videos, because I do have a lot of introduction to NLP and Quantum NLP videos on YouTube. And I also have videos with demonstrations, with, as I said, Q&A, as also introductions. Okay, so I hope that that is a nice complete circle for our very first question. Thank you so very much. And it's cool because I like it that it wasn't why should I learn NLP, it was why should I practice NLP, because you can learn to pay attention to your own thought process and to start reframing it when what you're doing doesn't serve you. Okay, so that's my encouragement to you. Start practicing on your own, my friends. Totally doable. Cool, got my class. Ding, 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 ding. Alrighty. So at that tempo, we're going to be able to answer several questions, and then I will post them afterwards so that if you are looking for references, that's a longer one, okay, that you will find them easily, okay? So I have a lot of negative self-talk. Am I manifesting what I'm thinking about? Oh, you guys, that is a super important basic question about the law of attraction, of course. I'm going to come from the law of attraction angle first. And then, as I remember, and we have enough time, I'm also going to come from the Quantum NLP angle, okay? So, I have a lot of negative self-talk. Lots of us can identify with that at some point in our life. And I'm sure that most of us can also identify with that fear that because we were trapped in such negative self-talk, that we were actually manifesting a lot of it. And honestly speaking, haven't you? I sure have. I was so good at it. Oh my goodness. I would just visualize bad things happening, and then they happened, and I would go, see, I told you, right? I mean, we've all done it. It's so hilarious, and it is a self-fulfilling prophecy. So, from the law of attraction point of view, and I'm going back to some of those old teachers like Napoleon Hill, Earl Nightingale, and what Earl Nightingale says. So this is my favorite quote when it comes to this specific subject. It is the thoughts that you think most often that manifest themselves. It's the thoughts that you think repeatedly. I'm going to be super open. One of the thoughts that cruises through my head ever so often is about cancer. You know, it's just in our world, and it's obvious, and people talk about it, and other people have it, and da 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 da. I get exposed to it all the time, and there's this little part that's like, I'm afraid I'm going to get cancer. And when I first learned the law of attraction, I was really worried about that. Oh, I'm putting way too much energy into it. And every time I did hear about a health scare of someone else, I would immediately go, oh my God, am I in danger? Should I do something? Da, 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 and my diet, whatever. And I was really worried about that in the beginning of my NLP training, and then learning about the law of attraction, that ultimately the thoughts that you think a lot are going to manifest themselves. And then, because I did expose myself to the work of Earl Nightingale, and I really put a lot of emphasis on practicing the belief, only the thoughts that I think very often and repeatedly are going to manifest themselves. And there's something else from the law of attraction that's very important. It's about duration and intensity. The more you feel, the more emotional you are while you are manifesting. Let's say I'm creating a trip right now. So I'm going back to Germany. I have some very specific expectations. I have some fun stuff coming up, some awesome gatherings, a class meeting, a very important birthday is going to be there, some other wonderful, wonderful things. And of course, getting to spend time with my parents. So I have some very high expectations and hopes how all of that is going to manifest itself. And so I can now put a lot of thoughts into that. And the more elated I feel, the more excited I am, the more curious I am, the more passionate I am, the more I raise my vibration. Can you hear it even in my words and my gestures? The more I crank up the intensity of my emotional state. That's one piece, how I'm affecting me thinking about that trip. Duration means the more time I spend with it, the faster it's going to happen. The more I'm sending out that vibe, the more I'm aligning my intent, and the more I'm sending that message to the universe congruently. So having that elated feeling state while you're practicing as long as you can, that's why affirmations work. When I lay there at bed at night, and it doesn't happen often these days, when it happens, I immediately put on a sleeping tape with some kind of beautiful spherical music, some beautiful beats, perhaps some background sound like waves crashing on the beach, or there is some bird twitter. And then there are specific affirmations. Sometimes I do abundance, sometimes I do health, sometimes I just do I am. What did I do? I found one today that was really fun too. Don't even remember. It was just something totally cool. Oh, for the kids, we were doing ballet sessions. We were just playing with our unicorn, and we were doing ballet session. So I just put up ballet music for kids, and then harp music came up. So we listened to harp music for an hour. So you can feed your brain these emotions, and you can influence your emotions with what you're exposing yourself to. Most wonderful thing I can do, and actually remember I made a commitment that I'm going to practice the method acting. Yes, I have been. And one of the commitments I made to myself, and it's a hard one because I love it, no more news for a while. I'm just gonna hear it from other people, and I'm not gonna search myself, oh, look at this, oh my goodness. And instead, every time I get the feeling that I want to watch news or search something up about a celebrity or whatever is going on in pop culture, which is the stuff I love, I'm just going to put on a meditation tape, because I know the more I feed myself the thoughts that are positive, and I do it with that high intensity, that elated feeling of excitement and happiness. And you know what? It doesn't have to be all, oh, high and ooh, I'm all crazy and out there and I'm the introvert, the extrovert and all that. No, 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 no. Elated feeling can also be a very, very beautiful feeling of a serene calmness, just a precious peace. And again, it's a very high vibration. So that's what you want. And then doing it over time. So being able to lay there in bed at night, listening to those affirmations about sleeping and resting and how I honor my body and all that stuff. Within 2 minutes, I'm gone. So give yourself that knowledge that do not worry about your negative self-talk unless it is incessant. And you know what that means? If it truly is something that you cannot be in charge of, I don't want to use the word control, that you cannot reframe, talk to yourself with, and all that kind of stuff, then that is information that's important for us as the practitioner, because that means you have some kind of belief that is driving the thought. Does that make sense? Because according to Esther Hicks, a belief is just a thought that we think a lot, right? It's a thought we think habitually. That's what a belief is. That's your default pattern that you go to. So, A, do not worry about it. If the thoughts hit you ever so often, pay attention to it if you notice that they are persevering, that you can't get rid of them, that you cannot reframe them, that meditation does not help, that affirmations do not help over time. Watch it, okay? Listen to yourself, pay attention, and if you really feel that it's persistent and that you might start seeing some results in the outside world about it, then you definitely want to take some action. Because that means at that moment you really are feeding your brain too many negative thoughts that then ultimately manifest into negative emotions that then come out as negative behaviors. And that is part of the NLP answer to this issue. Because your energy influences your thoughts, your words, your feelings, your actions, your results. And we're working on the energetic imprint. So when you do find yourself saying the same phrases to yourself all the time, well, life is just not fair, stuff like that, we just say that. We don't even think about it. People are good. I love to say that. People are inherently good. Something I practice because I grew up with can't really trust people. People screw you over, in the end effect, you're going to end up alone, that kind of stuff. And I really practiced over the years. I made a decision to say, I don't want to believe that anymore. It doesn't serve me. Makes me a hermit, makes me too shy, and I don't want to interact with anybody, and I want to be part of this world. So I decided one day, I want to believe that people can be trusted, that it's a good world. It's a good place, and there's always something wonderful out there to discover. And that was part of my NLP journey, to make those decisions. And then, through the practice of the affirmations, through doing specific exercise, through doing little experiments with myself, little challenges and journaling and processes, and I have a whole catalog of strategies that I'm using to keep myself in that high vibration as much as I can. So my friend, and everybody else who is worrying about your own negative self-talk, just catching yourself and starting to talk to yourself a little bit about it is going to change the dynamics. And over time, you will find that you're going to be sweeter to yourself, that you're going to be kinder to yourself, and that your negative self-internal dialogue is slowly going to shift. All right? So, breathe that in, my friend. And there's nothing to worry about. As long as you're paying attention, and from now on, because now you know it, right? Before you didn't, but now you know it. So make a promise to yourself that you are going to take action, that you are paying attention, that you want to be aware. And that's when I like to assign parts. Hey, little part inside my communication part, can you please be so nice when I have some fears about disease again, for example, cancer, which is the example I mentioned, please, please, please send me a sign that makes me aware that I'm doing it without hurting me. Thank you, darling. or I say it in a positive way, please send me the sign in a gentle manner. And that works a lot because all of a sudden I hear that little voice tone going, hey, Christiane, da, 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 da. Or synchronicities show up in my surroundings. Something shows up on my computer, someone says something, I see it in a book. It's just somewhere in the universe that all of a sudden the message keeps popping up again and again and again. That's when I know I'm onto something. So allow yourself to pay attention and allow yourself to see the results in your outside world. Okay, cool. So thank you for this fabulous question, which is definitely something I know is on a lot of people's minds. Yep. Okay, we definitely have time for another question. All good things are three, right? Chaka, 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 chaka. This is fun. I'm loving it. Tiki, 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 tiki. And thank you, everybody who's here. Love you guys. Blessed be. Make sure you watch my live streams on YouTube as well and start digging into my videos. I have over 200 videos on YouTube, and I promise I'm going to make more. I'm super stoked. And this is one of the ways that I can serve, because my life is a life of service, and this is one of my favorite ways that I can connect with you guys, and we're all sitting together, even so we might be thousands of miles away from each other, but we know that entrainment works and that we can all be together in spirit. So that is what makes me happy, and that's why I keep coming back. So you guys, thank you for your support, because without you, I wouldn't be doing it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh no, this is a good one. When is it, in quotation marks, going to come? When is it going to come? And the reason it's it, because it is my wonderful, fulfilling relationship, the money that I've been after, the job that I've been wanting, the health issue that I've been wanting to resolve, and the list just goes on and on and on. And we all have our own its, don't we now? Yeah, we do. So, what is it? What's one of my its right now? Of course, it's always my health. I'm working on my health a lot. So yeah, when is it going to happen? I'm doing all these things, so when is it going to happen? Dang it, right? And I know some of you have talked to me personally about it, the things that you are manifesting. So, it is always happening when the energy of that which we desire is a perfect match to the energy that we're sending out. Just a match. And you're doing it every day, thousands of times. I know that. Because you're constantly creating something. I mean, just imagining your routine of getting up in the morning in that first hour, you will have already essentially accomplished dozens of tasks. And every one of those tasks is a manifestation when you really think about it. So you have a lot of examples and you have a lot of momentum in your life already when it comes to I'm matching my vibration with that which I want. I want a coffee in the morning. Well, guess what? 5 minutes later, I'm sitting there with a cup of coffee in my hand. I'm super grateful. Thank you. And it was a match between the subject of the coffee and the subject of Christiane, and then we had a match, and there she is enjoying her coffee. That's all it is. So if you really look at it mechanically like that, it makes it pretty easy. And ultimately what that means is, if you don't have it yet, it's because your vibration doesn't match it yet. So, two pieces, gotta remember them. First one, there's a positive intent. The second one is the disclaimer, because that's where sometimes the law of attraction gets a bad name. When it's being said that it puts the responsibility squarely into people's laps, and it shames people for not being able to manifest what they want when they can't do it. So that is something that I've thought about a lot, and I have my own opinions about, and I'm sure you have your own opinions about it. And from a purely law of attraction point of view, it makes to me complete logical sense of why, when a substance or like money or the energy of a trip that I wanted to create, or a relationship that I wanted to form, the energy around that. That is a specific vibration. And we know that because that's the stuff that they can now measure. That there is a certain frequency, and then we, if we're down here, are not going to be able to match with that. So that makes total logical sense to me. And that has absolutely nothing to do with me not wanting to take responsibility for my own creations, because I will take responsibility for my creations, the good, the bad, and the indifferent, any day of the week, versus wanting to be the person who thinks that life just happens to me and there is nothing I can do to influence my state. And that's where I was trapped before I learned NLP and the law of attraction, because everything was happening to me and I was the victim. And I blamed everybody else. Oh, I was good at that too. While criticizing myself, of course. So from that point of view, we really are responsible 100% for our experience on this earth. There are over 8 billion people right now. Imagine that. And every single one has a completely different experience of reality. And you can put 5 people into this room right now and they would see something different. Everybody would pay different attention to different aspects of my room. Everybody would see colors a little differently. Everybody would hear the sounds a little differently, because we're all different. Our wiring is different. Our neurology is different. So nobody else can experience the universe the way you do. And I think that is beyond fascinating. And to me, in the way that I understand the laws, we have choice how we want to interact with all of this. I can go through my life kicking and screaming and be so unhappy that I'm here and all the things I have to do. Blah, 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 what a drag. Or I create patterns in myself that make me excited, that make me hopeful, that give me passion and curiosity about life and playfulness and humor and fun. You get to choose that every single day. And even if you were screwed up until yesterday and you lived a total victim-oriented mentality life and you were blaming everybody else and whatever, you can right now say, you know what, Christiane, this sounds really exciting and I'm just going to try it. That's how I started. I just wanted to try it and see what does it do. And I promise you guys, the second I get off my high ego horse and when I'm overwhelmed, for example, that's when I get into my ego horse. Poor me, I have to do it all by myself. That's my victimhood. And I start giving thanks. I start running my affirmations. I start paying attention to my internal patterns. I do things that are good for me, like listening to meditations, watching happy movies, playing as much with my grandkids as I can, going out in nature. I'm looking at my mirror here, doing art, very important. I know that I will have a different experience. That's why we talk about setting intent in the morning. When you create that framework in the morning about, I'm going to have a fantastic day and I know I'm going to have miracles. I know something magical is going to happen today. I just know it. I love to say that. That's how I start my day a lot. I know something really cool is going to happen today. I don't know what it is yet, but I know it's going to be awesome. And the universe goes, okay, let's see what we can conjure up for you. The trick is to raise your vibration to the thing, the person, the event, the circumstances, the situation that you want to attract to you. That is your work. To keep working on how can I elevate my vibration? How can I go from hate, despair, hopelessness? That's the bottom, okay? Then we have a neutral in the middle. Frustration is right under that. Just a little frustrated. Then comes hope, gratitude, and freedom, love, happiness, bliss, all the way up till we get to nirvana. And I didn't say the right ranking right now. You can look that up. That's David Hawkins' work. He is famous for those labels that he put on it. And there's multiple ways that you can look at it. I know Esther Hicks has her own measurable again. It's measurable nowadays. Fascinating. So you have the power to move yourself through these stages. I used to spend so much time and frustrated. And you know what? A good day was perhaps a neutral day where I didn't dislike myself so much and I didn't berate myself so much and so many things went wrong and I got ridiculed and embarrassed and hurt somehow, had little dumb accidents, whatever it is. And then slowly over time, we're going to gratitude and peace of mind and freedom and trust. That's a big one. And we're vibrating higher and higher and higher and higher and higher. And then one day, we look back and we're like, I have consistently been happier than I was 10 years ago. What I now call a normal day of my level of just appreciation for being here and what I have going on and the tasks I get to do versus have to do, there's the difference right there. Linguistically, that expression makes a difference. And it changes your state just by using that one little word differently. Now, the tasks I get to do and the people I get to interact with, I have a full agenda for tomorrow. I'm already looking so much forward to it. And it's going to be bam, bam, bam. My first gig is at 8 a.m. And I'm going to be out there doing errands and all kinds of stuff. And I'm doing some volunteering and interacting, have some meetings and all kinds of fun stuff going on. And I'm really, really, really looking forward to the day. And I'm making sure I'm squeezing in lots of playtime with the kids. And perhaps a little rummy cup at night. That would be lovely. Note, wink, wink. So, you have the power by keep doing the work to keep raising vibration so that your vibration starts to get closer and closer to the it that you are currently attracting. And I am so holding space for you right now, my dear friends who are here with me right now, that by you coming here today, by you exposing yourself to this information, because that's the thing too, that's a choice. You could have turned off 10 minutes ago, or you can just, kind of cruise through it, forward, whatever. But you, who is exposing themselves to this information, I know you've made a commitment. And you just did some major quantum leaps towards your goal. Just by exposing yourself to that information, by running it through your head and kind of thinking about it for your own situation. That is my only hope and my biggest outcome and expectation that I'm holding for this gathering, is that something just went, hadn't thought about it like this. Oh, wow, that's a great way to think about. Or, wow, that is a great resource. Or, I'm going to do some more digging. I'm going to find some more strategies. I'm going to look at this old book I've been having in my shelf for the last 10 years about the law of attraction that I've never opened. Okay? That kind of stuff. I'm holding you already on the level of the fulfillment of your dreams. Because you know that in the vortex, they are already your reality. They are an energetic reality. They are an energetic imprint. Imagine that right now in your own vortex, which is your own energy field, your connection with source. This is where ideas are born. This is the point of creation, the zero force, whatever you want to call it. That is where your idea takes place. I want to take this trip. I want to attract that much money. I want this job. I want this relationship. Whatever it is. Every single thought you have is going into your vortex. It becomes an energetic reality in that moment. And then, and that's, by the way, is another law of attraction explanation to that question about manifesting negative thoughts. The more you think about it, the more intensity you put into it, the more you feel it, the more you do it, the more it's going to become an actual physical manifestation over time. I've had a manifestation happen after 30 years. And it was my very, very first meeting with an NLP practitioner. She did a wonderful ceremony with me where we ended up having a family group hug. And that was an absolutely spectacular process for me in that moment. And I walked out of her office on a cloud. I made the decision I'm going to become an NLP practitioner. Didn't think about trainer yet, but I definitely wanted to learn it and learn how to talk like this woman and do processes like she did with me. And I tucked it into my heart because it was a very, very sweet visualization that I did in hugging my whole family and just feeling that my father and my mother wrapping my sister and me in their arms and all just standing there. Here we are. So that was 1993, by the way. So this is truly my 30-year anniversary with NLP and having had my first session and just, wow, being blown away that I was actually handed the beginning of the owner's manual for my own brain. Forward 29 years. Here we are last summer in Germany, helping my parents move because of physical reasons and health issues. My parents don't want to have so many stairs anymore. I used to have to clean 56 stairs. I'm one of those counters. So yeah, I'm still looking at them. They're on marble. So I'm like, oh man, that's a lot of stairs. So my dad's over 80 now. So that was just inappropriate anymore at that point. So we moved them. We switched the apartments. So they're downstairs now. And it was such a wonderful experience because it went so smooth. And that's what we kept saying as a family, because everybody was involved. Trust me, we're like 10 people involved in this whole project. It took us 2 weeks with everything 45, 50 years of gathering stuff that they had while living in that very specific apartment that then had to be reduced about 50% for the new space they have, and so on and so on. Went fantastic. And after it was all done, my dad, it was one of those moments, he thanked everybody and stuff. And so he just grabbed my sister and me. And then my mom came in and we did the group hug. And in that moment, I remembered that exercise 29 years earlier and my yearning for that level of intimacy and just connection with my parents physically. And here it was, 29 years later, it showed up. And I never ever thought that would happen or that it was still important, because I had it already when I did it in 93. I had that feeling. That's how it feels to have that kind of a hug from my parents and my sister. And then I got to experience it. And I was blown away. I'm like, wow, look at that. Eventually it all comes through. It just had to match the vibration. I had to be in that situation where they were physically there, where I was sending out the energy, they were sending out the energy, and then it magically manifested itself. So let me share that story with you as an encouragement for some of the things that you are perhaps yearning for, things that you so wished you could have now in physical reality. And I would like to encourage you to just give yourself credit and to keep affirming to yourself, it is real in my vortex. And especially when it's in relationship to other people and when there are relationships that are hurtful in your life right now. In my vortex, my higher self and their higher self have the most wonderful relationship. I know that, and I know that. And I've made peace with some of the people in my life. And I can now completely cool, sit them with them, have a conversation. We even talk about it. We apologize to each other, made peace, moved on, all possible. So whatever you're yearning for, my friend, possible for you too. So take that as my encouragement to you today, and as my thank you for tuning in, for being part of this beautiful community. We are all co-creators. Isn't that fun? I love spending this time with you guys. And now it's time for some more fabulous juice. Actually, I got my water in my Coca-Cola glass, which is so hilarious. I saw that earlier. I'm like, oh, that's cool. At least water. Yay, blessed be. So, time to hang out with the family. Time to do my evening activities. I am super happy that we got to spend some time with each other. And I hope that you're taking something very useful from those 3 questions that I answered today. So there is a lot more in there. And I would really love to get your questions. So yes, send them to me on Messenger, send me a text, or write them in the comments on YouTube, wherever you're going to find me. And I would love to answer your questions as well. Remember, case studies are a-okay. You can get personal. Don't worry about it. I'm going to make it so it's appropriate for our group and it's not going to give you away. Okay, my friend? Trust me on that. Thank you. With that, nice nourishing sip of water. Make sure you're drinking a lot of water yourself, because when you're doing work with your neurology, you want to make sure that you're staying hydrated, okay? Thank you for being here, my friends. Love you lots, and talk to you soon again. Bye-bye.